Do you know what the term jumping the shark means? It means when something stops being cool. So, a good example is dabbing. If you see someone dab today, it's not as cool as it was once. Well, it was never really cool, but now it's like a crime. Like if you see someone dab, you're like, I'm not with them. That's not someone I associate myself with. You distance yourself from someone that jumped the shark, hops on a trend too late. And that's the verb I guess you could use. If you are to jump the shark, it means you hopped on a trend too late. And I unfortunately jumped the shark. I got COVID. It's true. This is my first time in 2023. I got COVID right around the 3 year anniversary of everything shutting down, right? I got COVID. It's true. The past 2 weeks, I have had it. We have been hanging out together, and it's been an interesting relationship. I don't live with people too often anymore, so it's interesting now, inhabiting a space together. It's weird. We were very territorial, COVID and I. I want to do one thing. COVID's like, don't fucking do that. And I'm just tired after that. It's weird. What happened to me? I got COVID. What were my symptoms? I know everyone's so excited to hear it. That's the problem about getting COVID in 2023. No one gives a fuck anymore. That's the problem. I can't even talk to anyone about it because it's like talking about a TV show too late. Like, you get into a TV show and it's done now. And then you want to talk to someone about it because you're like, I just got into this. But everyone's like, we're over that. That's like if you go up to someone, you're like, you know what? Season 1 of The Office, pretty good. Let me tell you, Jim and Pam, those characters, I'm sensing a little chemistry there. It's like, yeah, shut up. Shut the fuck up. No one wants to talk about it anymore. It's the same thing with COVID. COVID is season 1 of any hit show. No one wants to talk about it now. Everyone knows how it ends up. Everyone's watched it. Everyone's experienced it. Shut up about it anymore, So I can't talk about it. It's true. We always talk about the physical toll that COVID takes. We don't talk about the social toll, that emotional social toll that it takes. I feel like an outcast in society. I used to feel like an outcast because I never got it. Now I feel like an outcast because I got it, but I got it too late. Now I feel like a loser. Like I'm just like everyone else, but I just didn't do it on time. And it's just weird. I just was sick and tired and alone, and it wasn't cool. It wasn't the it thing, It was just a thing that I had to go through. Like, you go to work and you're like, hey, I know we were planning on being on site a day this week, but I got COVID. And they're like, oh, all right, well, deal with that. And then, it's not like, how are you doing? Is it tough? I mean, they do ask that. I don't want to throw my coworkers under the bus. They're very nice. They ask me, how are you doing? And it wasn't good for like a week. There was a week where it was bad, and then there was the week that followed it, and it was also bad, but it was better. Relatively, it wasn't as bad. I just got very tired. And it's interesting, COVID, I looked it up. I don't know, I got scared. I went on a trip to the East Coast. I don't know if you've seen that on social media. I went to the East Coast. And that's also, how do you talk about that? So much happened on that trip. It was a week. It was a week in the East Coast. We went to DC. Me and Alex Fisher-Wagner went to DC for 2 days. Then we went to Philly for like a part of a day. And then we went to New York for 2 days, my favorite stop. And then we went to New Haven for a day or so and ended our stop in Boston for 2 days. And how do you even begin to talk about a trip like that? I've only talked about that trip with one person, Tyler Holland. And that's interesting too. I'll talk about that. I have something to say about talking to Tyler Holland. But he and I had a call the other day. I'll talk about it. I'm interested in something that happened. But how do you even begin to talk about like, oh yeah, we were at 7 days. Like, how do you even begin that talk? Then you become one of those people, right? One of those, like, you go over to their house, and one of those couples, and then they're like, ooh, let's gather around the living room, throw up the slideshow. And they went through the trouble of making a PowerPoint, so you got to see all those fucking Star Wars transitions, like just a side swipe and all that, and you're like, how do I tell them I don't care? We're only 3 sides in, and I couldn't care less. I actually could care less. It's actually surprising. My limit of caring actually has no depth. I could not care to the end of the world. That's how passionately I feel about not caring. I care so much about not caring. As you can see, the brain fog is still here. No, I don't think so. I think my brain is okay. Or I'm just realizing it wasn't that great to start with. Because, sometimes I'm talking, not coherent. Also, I haven't recorded a podcast in a month. And I feel like I'm scared to record things because I'm like, I don't know how to talk online. But then you got to get over that and just be like, no, you do. That's the great thing about being on the internet. You get to just move forward with just so much confidence. Even if you don't have it, you just have to be confident. Because you have to convince yourself, like, the things I'm saying are important enough that people have to hear them. And then, but a lot of the time they're not. As a listener of this podcast, you know that. But you have to lie to yourself and just be like, no, it matters. So that you can make the thing. And so here I am. I've convinced myself that my word matters. And so I'm talking to you and you're listening. So hi. What's up? Did I mention I had COVID? Maybe. I don't know if I mentioned that. First time. That's right. Four shots I had. That's true. But no, the trip was good. The trip was good. But how do you even begin to talk about that trip? I don't even, like, I have little stories, but, like, I don't want to get into those. All I'll say, it was good. And I found that one of the measures of a good trip is your camera roll has stuff on it that you don't want anyone to see. And that is true. There's stuff on my camera roll. I'm like, I don't want people to see that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I think that's the mark of a good trip. So it was good. It was a really good trip. But COVID, what a boring thing to have. I had a fever for a couple days and then just congestion for like a week and a half. But when I had COVID, I found something very interesting. I lacked motivation. And I thought it was because, I went and I had excitement for a week on the East Coast. And I came back into the mundane, monotony of everyday life. And I was like, I guess there's nothing, to be excited about. And I had lost all motivation. I started doing weird shit, very weird things that were out of character. Like at 11 p.m., I started feeling tired. That's not me. That's not what I do. I don't feel tired at 11. Well, I do, but I don't listen to that part of me. There's so much more of the night to have. But the past 2 weeks, at 11 p.m. every night, I'm like, not me actually. My body is like, hey, we can be done now, right? I'm like, why? What? No, the night is still young, body. But yeah, I found it when I had COVID. I felt like a 40-year-old person. I entered my midlife. Because every night, 10:30, 11, my body was like, so we gonna wrap this up now? And I'm like, why? I want to watch a movie. And then my body's like, no, I don't. So we're gonna go to bed. And then I would. The past 2 weeks, I've been going to sleep at midnight every night. I've been getting 8 hours of sleep. It's weird because I've been getting enough sleep, but I'm still tired. That's the one thing that's carried on through COVID. I've just been so tired. Just existence is exhausting. I wake up and I can feel my battery drain throughout the day. It's very weird, but it's a thing. And I think it's going to go away soon. Even me recording this podcast, I think it's me regaining a little bit of energy to do things. But I looked it up. I was like, is motivation a thing by COVID? And they were like, yeah. I was like, thank God, because I thought I went to, the East Coast, had so much fun. Then I came back and I'm like, nothing will beat that high again, right? So I'm just fucked. I just have to keep chasing highs for the rest of my life. But no, it was just COVID. COVID was getting me down the dumps. And so for the past 2 weeks, I've just been reading. I've been watching YouTube videos. And I've been going to sleep on time. I'm 50 years old. I'm an empty nester. That's what I am. My kids are off in college, and I'm like, well, what do I do with my time? I guess I'll sleep and read. What the fuck? And before my trip, I told you I was big into baking. I haven't baked since I've gotten back, just because, again, I've lost so much motivation. But I have all the ingredients, and I got a good chocolate chip scone recipe, and so I'm going to try to tackle that. I was going to do it tonight. Probably do it tomorrow. But yeah, I'm feeling myself coming back from COVID. It's weird. I didn't think that was how COVID would be. I thought it was like, you'd get immensely sick, right? And then that's the thing. I didn't think it played such a mental game with you. Like the symptoms, whatever. I got them over in 3 or 4 days. But Jesus, I felt so tired. And not even like physically tired. Just like mentally, my brain's like, we can we be done with this day? Just like call it. And I've listened to my brain. I know. Wow, you listen to your brain. What a profound idea. But part of the motivation is like not recording videos, not like doing things. I can't even go to the office, right? So I don't care about my appearance. And I don't know if it's comes through, if it's clear, but like I haven't I haven't trimmed my beard or my facial hair in 3 weeks, probably like 3.5 weeks now. And it's weird. Every time I grow like more facial hair, I'm always in and out of it. I'm like, oh, this is good. And then the next second, I'm like, no, what are you talking? No, it's bad. And I think I've landed on bad. Like, it looks good, sure, fine, I guess, from a distance. But living with it, it's annoying. I don't like it. Like, when you brush your teeth, and I don't know how you do it, but I cup my hands full of water and then I rinse my mouth. It's just the beard gets wet. And then it's like you got to pat that dry and then it retains some moisture. If you've ever had a beard, I don't get how you can like feel like you're ever clean. Like I feel like if you have a beard, like one of those big ones, how do you not shower twice a day? Because there's just you eat and just little crumbs of shit. It's gross. I don't like it. I like a clean like not I like a beard, but I like it close to my face. This we've created some distance, and things to get lost in the distance, in the shrubs, in the grassy knoll that is on my chin. So, yeah, I just wanted to record this podcast with my 3 week beard. And, I'm trimming it tomorrow. And I'm going to trim it a little shorter than it usually is because it's just, ugh. It's cool. Like, after I shower and I look at it, I'm like, that's kind of cool that I can grow that much hair. And then later in the day, even the same day, later that day, I'm like, it feels weird. I don't know. Not itchy. I don't get itchy. My beard and stuff, it doesn't get itchy. It's just, I don't like that it's there. It's not painful. Did you think it was pain? It's not painful. It doesn't hurt. But it's there and it's no. It's like if a friend is like, hey, I'm in between situations. Can I just stay over? And you're like, yeah, just take the couch a couple days, a week or so before you're back on your feet. No problem. And yeah, you get to like 3 weeks and you're like, so are you going to like figure something out or what's going on here? Like I notice taking a lot of my food and you're always around, but you're going to leave, right? I thought we had an agreement. You're not going to be here very long. That's my beard. It's overstayed its welcome and it keeps taking food and go away. No one wants you here. People look at me differently because of you, So yeah, this is, I think, what is it? In like the last year and a half is like the biggest my beard's I've let it be because no one's looked at me. So I'm like, I don't care about my appearance. I can live with this, But now I got to go out in the world. So I got to put on the whole show, And it takes so much goddamn like here, okay, this is the last time I trimmed my beard. It was the last podcast. I think it was like that day. This is what it looks like when I trim my face, and then this is now. This transformation, I mean, this will probably take a little longer, but like getting from here to there, man, that takes like an hour and a half. So like once a week, I gotta do like an hour and a half of trimming, like all that trimming and shit I do. God, I don't know. If you guys have facial hair, but like, bro, it takes like an hour and a half, and I hate it. And now I think that that's the thing. The part of the appeal of this facial hair is not even how it looks. It's just like, oh, okay, so I can go this long without caring and it doesn't look terrible. Interesting. That's, that's how things get discovered, right? Like expiration dates. People are like, I'm just going to keep this milk until I have to go to the grocery store again. So they just let it sit until it poisoned them. And they were like, okay, well then I got to go how often, it starts to turn chunky. Now, am I implying? Yes, you might be like, are you implying that they invented expiration dates after Grocery stores were invented? Yes, but it's a joke, so shut up, you know? Yeah, beards are just, they have an expiration date, right? And I think I've found mine. I think it's like 3 weeks. And then I'm like, okay, scoot along, you know? You're done here. Like, are we good? Or maybe it works. I'm making a mistake by trimming it. I don't know. I don't know what anything is. Speaking of not knowing things, I have been reading recently. I tell you, I don't like my even like when I'm. It's interesting when your body's tired. Like even consuming like video content, it tires you out. I find so I would turn to reading a lot at night, and through reading, I mean, I still like to read. Like I read quite a lot today, but most of the books I read, I feel like they're easy enough to read, right? Well, I fucking started reading this book, The Age of AI, right? And it's a fine book. It's an okay book. I haven't finished it. I think I'm only like 40 pages in, but or 60 pages? Yeah, I think I'm 60 pages into it. I do a thing when I read books. I take notes in my notes app and then I write every word I don't know that I come across. And chapter 1 is 23 pages. And I think if you include the preface plus chapter 1, it's 29 pages. And in 29 pages, I had 22 words I didn't know. This fucking book, I it was written by intelligent people. No doubt. But god damn, why is it that intelligent people have to talk like intelligent people? And that's not a compliment. I hate the way intelligent people talk. It's so shitty. It's not how humans talk. That's the thing. And they do it so much. That's what I find. I read like fiction, and then the nonfiction I read is usually pretty approachable because it's written by like creatives, not fucking aliens like this book is written by. And what I find is that this is the problem with smart people. They use so much shitty jargon and parlance. That's a word they use, parlance. I had to look that shit up. They use so many shitty words that these ideas that they're trying to convey to people, they get lost because no one can read this. This is shitty. Smart people say ideas in big words and these shitty complex ways, and then they're like, why does no one care about the thing? I'm like, because you're the spokesperson for it and you suck. You're making it too confused. You got to make it stupid. You got to make it simple. But that's the thing. These people are too smart to be stupid, and that's why they're dumb. Does that make sense? Let me read you this. I read this to my mom the other day. I was like, Mom, you gotta fucking, you're gonna believe this shit. This is a real group of sentences, a couple of sentences in this book. And it blows me away that a human being wrote this and was like, yeah, this will make sense to the public. They want to learn about our smart ideas? I'll fucking knock them dead with this. Strap in. Okay, these are 2 sentences from The Age of AI. As societies develop their own human-machine partnerships with varying goals, different training modules, and potentially incompatible operational and moral limits with respect to AI, they may devolve into rivalry, technical incompatibility, and ever greater mutual incomprehension. Technology that was initially believed to be an instrument for the transcendence of national differences and the dispersal of objective truth may, in time, become the method by which civilizations and individuals diverge into different and mutually unintelligible realities. What the fuck, guys? Why would you write something like that? I went back and read it quite a few times. I still don't know what that means. I mean, I get what I'm reading. Like, I'm on page 60. That was on page 22. But why would you write some shit like that? And that's the thing. Reading this book, the whole time I can't help but think the ideas that they're conveying in this are very, very simple, but it feels like they're trying to meet a word count. I don't know how publishing books works, but it feels like their publisher was like, okay, we need at least 30,000 words or whatever the fuck it is. And they're like, okay, we'll make it work. Because these pages I'm reading, I'm like, the ideas are very simple, but the way they convey them makes them entirely, or they makes them seem entirely complex, but they're not. But they're too smart to be stupid. That's the thing. That it's like it's a paradox, right? Of stupid people where it's like they have the best ideas, right? But then they are too smart to convey them to people. And so we can't progress because they are incapable of dumbing it down for everyone. And then unfortunately, they, due to a myriad of reasons, uh, probably have a little bit of insecurity. I don't know if they were bullied growing up, or maybe they just, they're a bookworm, and we don't like nerds in this culture, right? Fuck nerds. Well, now, fuck nerds. People are attracted to nerds. Those two sentences I read you, I actually read those on my own. So, who's the nerd? Am I right? But they have too big of an ego. Intellects and shit, intelligent people, they have too big an ego to be stupid, and that's their downfall. That's what makes them dumb, and I hate it. This book is so fucking difficult to read. I'm reading it and I'm learning things, but I'm like, guys, why? Why is it that at page 29 there are 22 words I don't know the meaning of? That shouldn't be a thing. You're making it too hard. That's like if you were driving down a road and every fucking 3 feet there was a speed bump. No, a speed table. It completely takes you out of the experience. And you're like, maybe I just won't go down that road anymore. And that's what happens. These people have the roads to information, but then they put all these fucking speed bumps in, and then we go down them and we're like, I don't want to do that shit anymore. Now I have spine problems. My back hurts like a fucking bitch. So I'm not going to go down that road anymore. And then these people are at the end of the road like, why is no one else here? Because you fucking look at the road you gave us, assholes. I love smart people. It's important to surround yourself with smart people. I feel like, I don't know if it's I make a conscious effort, but I feel like my friends are smart people. But no one talks like that. None of my fucking friends talk like that. And that's why I love them. If they did talk like that, sure, I might hang around with them still. But if they were like, hey, let's get lunch, I might be busy. I might be busy. Like, it's cool, if you're walking somewhere. This would never happen now, but like at school, if you're walking somewhere and then they're like, hey, Gauruv, I'm like, oh, hey, wanna walk with me? Where are you going? And they're like, oh, I'm going here. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going right next door. You want to walk with me? I would love to talk to them in that setting. It's a very ejectable setting, A lunch locks you in. Walking somewhere, that's like you're in a plane and you can just hit eject whenever. You can lie. You can lie in a lunch too, but it's much it's hard to get out of. Like when you're walking somewhere, you're like, I forgot, I gotta go run to the bathroom real quick. They might do the thing where they're like, oh, that's fine, yeah, I don't have to be anywhere in a rush, I'll wait for you. Or they might be like, oh, you know what, I gotta drain the main vein too, and you're like, what a coincidence. And then you're like, I actually have to take a shit, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll wait for you. And you're like, no, you don't understand. There are streak marks when I'm done. It's bad. I don't want you to be here for that. Just go on without me. It's easier to get rid of someone when you're walking somewhere. But when you're in a lunch, you have to do the lunch, You have to pay a bill before you can't just ejecto-cedo out of that. So that's what's tough. It's tough to commit to experiences with these people. And that's one thing Alex and I talked about when we were on the trip. It's interesting. I think he brought it up, but I had the same thought. And I was like, bro, I was just thinking that like a day or two before our trip. There's a distinction that we all make. And I don't think we know that we make it, but we have it in our head. And right when I say it, you will think of a person. I know you will. There are people that we are friends with, but we would not travel with. You have the name. You have one, don't you? Yep, that fucker. And what is it? There's a reason, right? You thought of a reason like, oh yeah, I wouldn't travel with because they do this. Yeah, we all have them. That's what's interesting, right? You can have friends, but then there's a different criteria to travel with someone. And then it's weird because you could be like not too close to friends with someone, but you know them well enough to be like, I could travel with that person. But then there could be someone you're very, very close to, and you're like, I would not travel with that person. And maybe that's a product of your close relationship. You know a little too much. You know how they would disappoint you, but someone you don't know too much about, you're like, all right, well, I'll take a risk there, right? But yeah, it's interesting. Alex and I talked about, yes, there are people we would travel with, and there are people we would not. Not just people, there are friends. There are friends where we're like, yeah, what day are you thinking for that trip? Oh, God, out of town that day. Sorry. And you're like, that's okay. Next weekend? And you're like, wow, you're available. Don't have any other friends? Okay. Yeah, I'll check my calendar. And then they're like, yeah, no, just tell me what day works for you and we will lock it in. And you're like, I wish you were not so accommodating. That is annoyingly, what do you call it? When you like make, you like accommodating. Did I just say the word? Yeah, that is annoyingly accommodating. What the fuck? Wait, did I say the word accommodating or did I just say it in my head? Anyways, yeah, they're annoyingly accommodating. But I talked to Tyler. Tyler's one I would travel with. I would travel with Tyler. In fact, Tyler and I are, I don't want to spoil anything, but we're talking about a trip we both want to take with each other. And I don't know what's up with me. Maybe I am truly an adult because I've been like FaceTiming people, like cold call FaceTiming my friends recently, and I don't know if it's who it's worse for, you know, me or them. I don't, because I love Tyler. I really like talking to Tyler. We FaceTimed on Sunday. We talked for 3.5 hours, and then Monday he FaceTimed me. I'm like, oh, is this becoming a thing? And I love it. And we had another hour-long conversation, 51 minutes to be exact, on the following Monday. But I was like, oh, did I start a thing that I can't stop now? You know? But on that Sunday, we talked for 3.5 hours. And Tyler said something that I realized I love when people do. I love when people do this thing. You know, I talked about on a previous podcast episode that idea of like, oh yeah, you know, when you're talking to a friend and you had previously met like one of their mutual friends, right? You go to a party and then I'll just use real names because it's easier. I'm friends with Alex. Alex and I are close. We know each other. I went to Alex's party and I met this guy named Gabe. Gabe, that was the first time I had met Gabe. We had the party. It was great. Loved Gabe. Left. Month or weeks later or whatever, I talked with Alex and Alex was like, hey, remember Gabe? And I was like, yeah. He was like, he likes you. I was like, oh, that's great. I'm like, that's amazing. I like Gabe too. He's awesome. That's one of the best things when you find out like a mutual fucks with you, you know? Well, I found out a very similar feeling in something that Tyler did. It's a question he asked me, and I realized, oh, I really like when people ask me this question. I really like when people say, like, you're having a conversation with someone and they go, oh, I have a question for you. That is one of my fucking, pump that shit in my veins, man. That shit feels so good. Did you get the question there? I'll do it again. It's when people, you're having a conversation with someone and they go, oh, I have a question for you, because it makes it shows that they care. I don't know if it does show that they care, but to me it feels like they care, because it's like that the way they said it and the emotion that they had, yeah, the way they said it, it's like it feels like, oh, you know what? I have a question specially for you. Like me knowing things about you and our relationship, I want to ask you this question. That's what it feels like. It's not just a question to keep the conversation going. It's a question because I want to hear your answer. And I was like, oh shit. Damn, this shit like, ooh, it hit just right. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but when people do that thing where it's like, ooh, okay, I wanted to ask you this actually. Or they're like, oh, this reminded me of you. What do you think about this? Oh, even me saying it out loud, I felt good, you know? When someone's saying something and they're like, you're like, oh, I thought about you, because that's what it is, right? Even if they don't say it, they're basically saying, Here's the thing that reminded me of you. Can I run this by you? Because this thought I had reminded me of you. Ooh. Oh man, that's some sweet shit right there. And Tyler did it to me. I don't remember what question he asked, but I was like, oh, you really. No, I think we talked about. Oh no, I'm not gonna tell you what we talked about. But he said, "Oh, I have a question for you." And it's, oh man, because I feel like a lot of times in conversations, right, you just go through the motions. You say the things to keep the ball rolling, right? Conversations are like a game. You know what conversations are like? Are you ever walking like on a sidewalk? Or you're walking, yeah, just anywhere, and you find a little rock on the ground, and you kick the rock forward, and it goes in kind of a straight line. And then when you get to the rock next, you're like, okay, well, let me see if I can do that again. And you kick it, and it goes in a straight line again. You're like, all right, let's see how long I can go kicking this rock. And then eventually you kick it and it kind of veers off to the side, and you're like, that's fine. Maybe I'll find another rock in the future. That's what conversations are. A lot of time. You're just kicking a rock along, and you're like, let's see how long I can walk and kick this thing. And then eventually, we might reach a point where one of the rock kicks veers it off to the side, and we move on. That's the end of the conversation. But when someone says, oh, I have a question for you, it's like them picking up the rock and carrying it with them, you know? I just want to be someone's rock. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, that's oh man. Yeah, it's the same thing when you find out like a mutual likes you. It's the same thing when someone's like, "Ooh, okay. What do you here? I want to get your thoughts on this." Oh. That shit feels good. Feels really good. You know what doesn't feel really good? Getting pinched. And recently it was St. Patrick's Day. Actually, yesterday it was St. Patrick's Day. And this is what I wore. I wore this green shirt just in case, you know? And I realized I was talking to my mom, and I was telling her, I think on Thursday, the day before St. Patrick's Day, I was like, man, why do people pinch people on St. Patrick's Day? I was like, I fucking hate that shit. And then talking more to my mom, I was like, you know what? Actually, I like it. I like St. Patrick's Day because it outs the assholes. Like, you could not really know someone that well. Like, at school, you don't know everyone super well. Like, over time, you learn some people. But, if someone pinches you or you see someone pinch someone on St. Patrick's Day, you know to avoid that person. Like, not just on St. Patrick's Day, just all the time. Like, I told my mom, there's a person I grew up with. She knows this person. Oh, I know this person. And I don't think I ever saw him pinch anyone on St. Patrick's Day. But I know he would. He is that type of person. And I told my mom that, and she's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, he would probably do that. And I'm like, right? Because that's the thing. That's a type of person. The person that pinches someone on St. Patrick's Day, it's a microcosm of the rest of them, you know? Pinching someone on St. Patrick's Day, it says so much about a person. And what it says is don't befriend that person, because why would someone do something like that? That is, you're just going out of your way to be you, you know? And what it shows me is you are not someone that I want to go out of my way to be around, you know? So yeah, St. Patrick's Day, I had to change a heart. I think it's good because it outs assholes. It prolapses people, right? Because it exposes assholes. That's what it does. It spreads the cheeks on society. That's all it does. You might not know who the asshole is, and then St. Patrick's Day comes around and someone pinches you, and then it's like, whoop, there you go. And you're like, oh my God, you're an asshole. I had no idea. So yes, I welcome and I look forward to St. Patrick's Day for the whole pinching thing. Yeah, sure, there's a celebration, whatever. I don't really know what St. Patrick's Day is a celebration of, but I welcome it purely for the pinching. For the thing that made me hate it is also the thing that made me love it. It's the same thing with relationships, right? They get spicy, like when there's so much hate in them, that's passion. And then you get lost in the passion, and it's even more intense. That's the thing. I got lost in the passion of that Green Day. Not the band, but the St. Patrick's Day. The day of the dead leprechauns. I still don't know what St. Patrick's Day is about, but it can't be about dead leprechauns, right? I don't know. But good on St. Patrick's Day. Because you gotta have a lot of situations like that, right? There's these little tests in life that you can do to kind of like see something about someone. Like holding a door open for someone. Did they say thank you? If they were a little bit of a distance away, did they do that little jog to get up to you? Well, you're probably the asshole in that situation. If you make them do the jog, yeah, that's on you. Oh, you know what's nice? When they're like close enough to where they don't need a jog, but they still do the jog. And I'm like, oh no, you're good. Take your time. I am so strong. I can hold this door open for many seconds. Totally. I'll even throw my foot in there. No hands. Look, Ma, no hands. But yeah, there's these little tests you gotta do, right? Like a good test is when you're eating something and someone's present, you go, hey, you want some of this? They're supposed to say no. Any right-minded person would say no. But if they say yes, you're like, all right, yeah, well, here's part of my Pop-Tart because I asked. Then you said yes, that you wanted some. Is that not okay? No, it's fine. It's fine. I just don't know if I would travel with you. That's all. I don't know if I would get on a plane with you and spend time that I want to enjoy the world with you because you said, yes, I want a part of your pop. Fuck you. Then bring your own pop. Did you know? You know I eat Pop-Tarts, motherfucker. And here you are. Ooh, I'll take a part of your Pop-Tart. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, man. Sorry. That's another thing Alex and I talked about. It's interesting. In the past few months, I've had 4 people tell me this. So do you agree? No one's going to tell me. But like, I'm going to put this question out there. People say I don't curse, which is interesting to me because I do. And you see it. No, you hear it. You could see it too. I don't know how you take information in. But I think I curse a lot because I think mentally I have a lot of curse words running. But then I realized the more I talked to Alex, because Alex was making an argument to me, he was like, you don't curse at all. You have a very clean mouth. And I was like, how did you know? Did you get in there? You want to get in there? Oh, what? What's up? But he was like, yeah, you don't curse at all. He was like, I curse like a sailor. I was like, yeah, I guess you do curse a lot. And then he talked me through it, and I was like, oh, shit. Well, yeah, I don't really curse at all, do I? Because I don't. Like, out loud, I don't curse that much. But the things I do say are like substitutes. Like there's this one YouTuber I watch, and he always says, well, there's a group of them, and they always say like, it's ironic, but it's not ironic now at this point. But they always say, oh, French toast. And so I do that. Like in the real world, when I would say, oh, fuck, I would say, French toast. And so I don't curse. But in my head, when I say French toast, in my head, I'm like, you just said fuck. But no, I didn't. And so that's the thing. I guess internally, I curse a lot. But outwardly, it's not really getting that much play, you know? And then I realized, oh, wait a minute. No, I do curse a lot with certain people. Like I told Alex, and I think this is true, I curse the most with my mom. Because my mom, I don't have a filter. I am speaking ever so candidly. There's not a single fucking hint of a filter when I'm talking to my mom. Very similar to Hoyer. Hoyer, I have a very small filter. And so I think I curse the most to my mom and to Hoyer because I feel the most comfortable with them. And so I curse a shit ton. And I realized, I was like, oh, I guess that's the thing. I guess Alex and I are not close enough to where I just fucking have I've just given up on filtering myself. But maybe I just respect him too much, you know? Maybe I don't respect my mom and my best friend of 15, 16. You see, I don't even know how many years it's been. I just don't respect him enough. And so I'm like, yeah, you'll get this sailor's sting of garbage coming out of my mouth. What the fuck am I saying at this point? But that's the thing. Maybe I curse. I think I curse a lot on this podcast. I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. But I think I do probably curse more here than I would curse in front of Alex because this is just me. Sure, I'm talking to like however many people, but this is me talking to me. That's what I always think about this podcast. It's just me talking to myself. These are just thoughts I have. Like if I'm going and taking the trash out or I'm at the supermarket. This is just what's going on inside. I'm just not saying it out loud. And so there's a lot of cursing inside. And so this is me putting my inside out. Great movie, by the way. And so there naturally there's a lot of cursing. Alice Alice Alex. I'm okay. And then make sure also you watch the new episode of All Ears. I joke in there and say, "Oh, your name is Alice, right?" And I talk about, "Oh yeah, I made the same joke like however many years ago in this video." So here I am, Freudian slip. I called him Alice again, but no, Alex. We also had the discussion right after that one of like, "What's your favorite curse word? Is there any curse word you don't like?" And I went through, I googled it, a list of every curse word. They're all good. There's no curse word I don't like. Like Alex talked about like he doesn't really like motherfucker, but I realized I think motherfucker is one of my favorites. It's so cool, and I don't even mean it like um, maliciously. It carries no malice when I utter the phrase, but it's the same thing as bitch. It's like to me, it's like a term of endearment. It's like go bitch or like go you motherfucker. You would you a smart motherfucker, aren't you? And then I realized Alex is like motherfucker. He said it out loud, and I was like, oh, he like articulates each part of it. And he was like, yeah, it just doesn't roll off the tongue for me that well. I was like, oh. I was like, he was like, I don't like the way it sits on my mouth. I love the way motherfucker sits on my mouth. I think I kind of like roll through it also, like in a different way. Like I don't articulate motherfucker. I don't say that. I say motherfucker. And it's such a good word. And that's what I realized too. Yeah, people like certain curse words. Like everyone loves Spock, right? But motherfucker, I like it. It hits, so it's funny to me. I don't know if it is, but like I like it. It's especially funny like when you talk about non-humans. Like if it's windy and you are entering a building and the door shuts on you, you open the door, you go sit down with your friend, and you're like, "Hey, how's it going?" They're like, "Good." And I'm like, "That motherfucker shut on me." They're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "The door." It's funny to call inanimate things motherfuckers. Like, what is it? Oh yeah, like you're going on a hike and then you go over a peak or something, and it exposes this beautiful mountain view, and you're like, "Holy shit." That's one big motherfucker. It's funny to call a mountain a motherfucker. It's funny to call a door a motherfucker. It's funny to call like a dog a mother. Like if you, my dog Odin, the beagle, um, he randomly does this. I think people say, "Oh, the dogs get the zoomies, right? They just run around." He'll do that at home in our backyard once or twice a day. I feel like he just runs the entire length of the backyard, and when I'm in the kitchen, like washing my hands, sometimes I'll see him do it, and I'll just think to myself, like, man, that motherfucker's zooming. And it's not a mean term. It's just a term. It's like my guy, you know. When someone's like, "Oh yeah, this guy," I like to just be like, "Yeah, this motherfucker," you know. And I don't mean it to be mean. I just it has no meaning because it's you know like as we see in Odin, he's a little motherfucker, but he's my motherfucker, you know. Yeah, this good thing this channel's not monetized because this video would not be. Anyways, I still feel a little congested. I hope it didn't come through in my voice. But thanks for listening, and sorry for being out for 2 weeks. I know I recorded the last episode in advance because I knew I'd miss a week, and then boom, I missed 2 weeks. But I was sick, so I'm sorry. you wouldn't have wanted to hear me. It would have been bad. So, thanks for listening to this one, though. Man, it's good to be back making shit like a real motherfucker. Okay. Talk at you next week. Okay? Bye.